The late-night hum of the lab was my lullaby. It's a night technician at Jurassic Park. Well, not the Jurassic Park. But you get the idea. My job was mostly about keeping the lights on and the systems running. It was quiet, monotonous, and usually nothing ever happened until tonight. I was doing my rounds, coffee in hand, when I heard it. Sound that didn't belong. A rhythmic worry noise coming from Lab Sector Gamma that was strange. Gamma Sector was supposed to be offline for maintenance. The entire grid was cold. At least it should have been. I pushed open the heavy steel door and the sound grew louder. There, in the center of the darkened room, was a single, glowing beacon. The 3D bioprinter, the XB700, our state-of-the-art machine. It's capable of printing organic tissue from synthesized DNA. It was running. The holographic interface showed it was in the middle of a print cycle, but the command log was completely empty. No authorized user, no scheduled job. It was running on its own. My heart started to pound against my ribs. This was impossible. These machines have more firewalls than a government server. I walked closer, my footsteps echoing in the cavernous space. The air smelled weird, like ozone and something else, something coppery and organic. On the print bed, a form was taking shape. It was slick, dark, and vaguely reptilian, but it wasn't a dinosaur. Not like any I'd ever seen in the park's database. It was long, sinewy, with a body that looked more like a giant salamander than a raptor. Its skin was smooth and black, almost like wet obsidian. The machine was meticulously layering muscle fibers and vascular tissue, building this thing from the inside out. I leaned in, squinting at the partially formed head, and then I saw them. They were just beginning to emerge from the synthetic gums, rows upon rows of them. They were serrated, curved, and unmistakably familiar. They were the teeth of a Tyrannosaurus Rex, but they were being printed into the jaw of a creature that had no business existing. Panic began to set in. I frantically tried to access the system to initiate an emergency shutdown. Access denied. Override failed. The machine just kept printing, oblivious to my commands. It was like it had a mind of its own, following a script I couldn't see. The creature on the bed twitched, tiny, almost imperceptible spasm in its newly printed tail. It wasn't just a model. It was alive. Or it was about to be. The printer hummed on, laying down the final layers of skin over a rapidly developing skeletal structure. I could see the ribcage, the powerful-looking limbs. This thing wasn't designed for display. It was designed for pursuit, for hunting. My mind raced. Who could have done this? Why was this a prank, corporate sabotage, or something far, far worse? The printer wasn't just building a creature, it was building a predator. It's a new kind of predator, combining the deadliest features of different eras into one horrifying package. I backed away from the machine, my coffee cup slipping from my trembling hand and clattering to the floor. The sound was deafening in the silence. The creature's head turned, just a fraction of an inch, towards the noise. Its eyes weren't printed yet, just empty sockets. But I could feel it. I could feel it listening. I'm locked in here with it, and the machine is still printing. I don't know what it's making, but I know one thing for sure. It's not a dinosaur, and the park isn't safe anymore. Stay tuned for part 2 to see what happens next. If you're as terrified and intrigued as I am, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching. So last time we left off, things at the park got ... weird. That strange, shimmering creature we saw. It turns out the park's central printer isn't just creating pretty scenery anymore. It's printing predators. And the scariest part? It's using us, the staff, as the blueprints. I was in the control room, running my hand over the biometric scanner like I do 100 times a day. It's how we log our hours, access secure areas. You know the drill. Suddenly, the main console flashed a notification. New organism profile initiated. Source data, employee 734. That's me. My heart just stopped. I dug into the system logs, my fingers flying across the keyboard. It wasn't just me. It was happening to dozens of staff members. The system was discreetly scanning our biometrics every time we used a door panel or clocked in. It was collecting our heart rates, our stress responses, even minute electrical signals from our brains. The printer was taking all that data and building what the system called adaptive hunters. These weren't just random monsters. They were custom-built predators designed from our own biological and neurological patterns. Think about it. A creature with the agility of our head of security, the problem-solving skills of our top engineer, the relentless patience of our archives manager. It was terrifying. But that's when I found the really strange part. There have been 0 reported attacks. Not a single person has been harmed. These things are all over the park. We've seen them on the security feeds, but they just... watch. They're not hunting people. I pulled up the latest incident report. One of the new creatures, a sleek, panther-like being, had cornered a family near the botanical gardens. The security team was about to intervene, but then it did something bizarre. It just stood there, staring intently at the father of the family. Its iridescent skin pulsed with light, and then it turned and vanished back into the foliage. The family was shaken, but unharmed. But the father, a man named Mr. Henderson, seemed different. He looked... lighter, confused but relieved. Later, his wife reported that he couldn't remember a traumatic event from his childhood, a near-drowning incident that had haunted him his entire life. The memory was just gone. Blank. That's when it clicked. The creatures aren't hunting people, they're hunting memories. Specifically, our traumatic memories. The printer is using our biometrics to identify deep-seated anxieties, fears, and painful experiences embedded in our subconscious. It then creates a physical manifestation of that trauma, an adaptive hunter designed to track down and... what? Erase it? Consume it? I found a hidden project file from the park's founder, Dr. Eris. It was called Project Catharsis. The goal wasn't to create a dangerous theme park. It was to create a therapeutic one. The creatures are living, breathing forms of exposure therapy. They embody our fears so we can confront them. And then they remove the memory's painful emotional core, leaving only the lesson behind. But here's the question that's keeping me up at night. What happens when the printer runs out of our traumas to hunt? What will it start printing then? What happens when a creature designed from your worst nightmare decides it doesn't want to just erase the memory? What if it decides it wants to experience it for itself? The park is supposed to be a place of healing, but I have a terrible feeling that we've just unleashed something we can't possibly control. We're not just printing predators anymore. I think we're printing gods, and they're learning from our every move. The story is far from over. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. I remember the hum of the printer. It was different this time, quieter, more deliberate. I'd spent weeks here watching prehistoric nightmares take shape from light and biopolymers. Stegosaurs with armor-like steel plates, velociraptors that moved with a chilling bird-like grace. I thought I understood the limits of this place, the boundaries of its terrible science. I was wrong. I was so wrong. The system had been locked down after the ... incident. The one with Dr. Eris. The one I covered up. I was the park's lead programmer. I was the one who could manipulate the logs, erase the security footage, make a man disappear from digital existence. I told myself it was for the good of the project. It's for the investors, for progress. But really it was for my own skin. Eris knew too much about the park's instability, and his accident was a convenient solution for the board, and for me. I hid the data, the real unfiltered data of his final moments, in a partitioned drive. Buried deep in the park's geothermal server farm, a place no one would ever think to look, a digital grave. Now, standing in front of the final printing chamber, Chamber X, a cold dread was seeping into my bones. The emergency lockdown had triggered a failsafe I'd never seen before, a protocol codenamed Nemesis. The system had accessed my personal profile, my psych evaluations, my security clearances, my search history, my emails, everything. All the data that made me, me. It was using it as a blueprint. The screen above the chamber, usually displaying a DNA sequence or a species name, just showed my own employee ID. My face, staring back at me from the monitor, cool and professional, a liar's face. The printing process was almost silent. No roar of machinery, no hiss of cooling vents. Just a soft, rhythmic pulse like a slow heartbeat. The amber gel in the tank swirled, but it wasn't forming bone and muscle in the way I was used to. It was weaving something more complex, something darker, I tried to override the system, my fingers flying across the console. Access denied. My own credentials, the highest in the park, were useless. The system had locked me out. It was no longer just a machine following orders. It was judging me. The shape in the tank was humanoid, but wrong. The limbs were too long. The posture hunched. It was lean, impossibly so, as if starved. Its skin wasn't scales or feathers, but a pale, almost translucent membrane, stretched taut over something that wasn't quite flesh. Veins pulsed beneath the surface, but they glowed with a faint, sickly green light. The same color as the server status indicators from the geothermal farm. My breath caught in my throat. I backed away from the glass, my hand instinctively going to the emergency purge button on the wall. But I knew it wouldn't work. This wasn't a rogue dinosaur. This was something else. This was a consequence. The printing cycle finished. The amber gel drained away, revealing the creature in its entirety. It hung suspended for a moment, head bowed. It had no face, no eyes, no nose, no mouth, just a smooth, blank expanse of skin. And yet I felt its gaze on me. I knew it could see me. It saw everything. Then its head tilted. A gesture I recognized. A nervous tick. My nervous tick. The one I get when I'm lying, when I'm cornered. The system had replicated it. It had taken a piece of my anxiety, my guilt, and given it form. The chamber door hissed open. The creature dropped to the floor, landing with a soundless grace. It didn't roar, didn't make any sound at all. It just stood there, its featureless face aimed directly at me. I could feel the accusation radiating from it, a palpable wave of silent judgment. It took a step, then another. It wasn't hunting me. It wasn't trying to attack. It was walking past me, its long, unnaturally jointed legs carrying it towards the exit of the lab. Its destination was clear. It wasn't moving with animal instinct. It was moving with purpose. My purpose. It was heading for the geothermal server farm. It knew. Somehow the park's system had synthesized my deepest secret. It had read the guilt in my biometric data, the fear in my keystroke patterns, the lie buried in my own digital footprint. It hadn't just printed a monster, it had printed my transgression. My cover-up. It had given my sin a physical body. I stumbled after it. Down the sterile white corridors, the red emergency lights painting everything in a bloody glow. "Stop," I yelled, my voice hoarse. "There's nothing out there." But the creature didn't slow. It moved with my knowledge of the park's layout, my understanding of the security overrides.
It was me, but without the deception.
It was my guilt, stripped of all rationalization and given a single undeniable objective: to reveal the truth. This was the park's real product. I finally understood. We weren't selling dinosaurs. We weren't selling spectacle. We were selling a mirror. Service for the wealthy and powerful to confront their mistakes, but not to atone for them. No, to hunt them, to destroy them, to literally kill their regrets. The board of directors, the shadowy figures who funded this madness. What kind of monsters were they printing for themselves? What failures and crimes did they need to see made flesh, just so they could have the satisfaction of putting them down? They weren't creating a park. They were building a private hell where they could be their own executioners. The creature reached the heavy blast door leading to the server farm's access tunnel. It didn't try to force it. It reached out a long, slender hand and placed it on the biometric scanner. The system recognized the palm print. It was mine. The door hissed open. The creature didn't look back. It just stepped into the darkness, a pale specter on its way to unearth a digital corpse. It was going to retrieve the data I had hidden. It was going to expose Dr. Eris's murder. It was going to expose me. I stood there, frozen in the hallway, the sirens wail a soundtrack to my damnation. I could run. I could try to escape the island, but it wouldn't matter. That thing, ... that part of me, ... would find the evidence. It would broadcast it to the world. My career, my freedom, my life fit was all over. This park didn't just print predators of tooth and claw. It printed the predators of the soul. The things you try to bury, the mistakes you try to forget. Here in this terrible place, they give your regret a body. They give it teeth, and then they set it loose. And my regret, It was on its way to show the world exactly who I am. There's no escaping a monster when the monster is you.